Sweet and Peachy.
Hi and welcome to Sweet and Peachy with me, Lizzie.
And me, Lee, from Lee and the Sweet Life and the Food Book Club.
This week we're going to be talking about relationship age gaps, which is something we've both got a bit of experience of.
I was going to say, we both know about those, which is really coincidental because when I first met you, I had no idea, obviously, but we've both done it exactly the same way around.
Yeah. With similar experiences as well, I think.
Yeah, we'll get to all of that. Yeah. So let me just do some sort of context thing. So according to Wikipedia, which is my, go-to thing, so it's probably all wrong because anybody can write on there, but, that's how it is. According to Wikipedia, the average difference between relationship age gaps is between 2 and 3 years in USA, Spain, and UK, except places like Africa have a bigger period of age gaps and relationships, and that's something else that's probably for another
that's probably much more of a moral discussion.
Which we're not going to be doing now, so apologies to anybody, and you're not offended, but that's just what we're not doing today. So there's a whole this thing, but really what I want to get onto, right, is the fun bit. Right, superstars. Who knew? In fact, we were just talking about who knew. Let me just go over some of the age gaps with these superstars. Okay, right. Again, no memories. Kirk Douglas, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Well, we all know there's a big age gap between them.
He looks like her granddad.
He does. He does. How many years? How many? Have a guess.
20. Don't know.
25. 25 years. Yeah, I know.
Right? He could be her granddad if they were like.
Well, yeah.
I mean, like in terms of people.
Yeah. Did you see his facelift the other year? He actually came out of the clinic, and some pap found him on. Obviously, took a picture, and he was actually still leaking from his. Yeah. Anyway, don't even. Yeah. Trump and Melania, which we've got to talk about at some point. Trump and Melania.
Yeah. Again. Probably about 20 years, I think. I don't know.
24. Tell me she's married him for love.
Anyway, come on, he's beautiful. And he is just an orange. I don't even know a word for.
There was this guy called Scargill who was a minor Pickman union guy, and he had and this is generally, you will not remember this because of your young whippersnapper age, but he used to have hair from here, comb over hair like that, okay? And it reminds me of Trump, the whole, 24 years.
On Sports Day, he used to stand there with his microphone announcing the results of all the races, and the wind would just lift it. Mr. Jones, RGS.
So bald. Mr. G is nice, and he's lost a bit of hair, but he just shaves it. I just think it's so sexy. Celine Dion and Renee Angeli.
That's a big one, isn't it? Obviously he sadly died now, because he was considerably older.
26 years.
I thought it was more than that, but still, huge gap.
But I think they were, not that I know her at all, and I'm sorry about this, but I just think they felt like they were in love because, she sort of grew up with him. And
he was a manager, wasn't he, originally?
Yeah. We'll, at some point we've got to talk about father figures and daddy things, but that's another one, isn't it?
That'd be good for you with all your psychology background.
Oh, God. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Now, let's just hold on, stop here. Can I just say yes to both of them?
Oh, yeah. I'll fight you.
We'll take turns. It's fine. How many years?
See, I know how many years now because we were talking about it. But obviously, I thought they were very similar in age. I didn't realise there was a gap. I
did. And it's 11 years, right? And can you believe, because I swear to God, he is hot on us, isn't he? And she's like sex on a stick,
Literally.
And I just think they literally on a stick. And I just think, but they don't look that sort of different age. Well, it's not even look, is it? It's like they don't give that vibe off of a different age.
No, not at all. And they're so in love as well. It just melts me. I love that.
I love
love. It's not just a whole, do you know what I mean? It's not like a paparazzi thing. It is genuine.
Fabulous, I know. Have you seen his Twitter feed? How he's always taking the mickey out of him. You've got to go on his Twitter feed because he takes a mickey out of her all the time. Brilliant.
Oh, brave man.
Yes. Yes. Okay, here's one. Right. Jason Statham and Rosie Whitley, who is the supermodel. And I got really disappointed because I like Jason Statham.
I don't even know who she is.
Yeah.
I know who he is. Obviously. He again is gorgeous.
Oh God! I mean, yes, but I didn't know.
In every movie.
20. Do you watch all of his movies?
I think I've seen most of them, like Transporter, and I can't even think off the top of my head what else he's been in. But I've watched a lot of stuff with him in.
I like a good.
He always plays the same character, though, doesn't he? That's the thing that lets him down, is that he's always that, aloof, tough guy who, he's good at heart, but he's not afraid to kill people, slamming body.
No, it's shirt.
Oh, it's ripped.
It always falls off, doesn't it?
It's
awful. He plays Jason Statham. The best film I saw him, which is a completely weird film, was I think it's something called The Crank or something like that, where he's given this drug, which the only thing that will keep him alive is if his adrenaline goes up. So all the film is about is him running. He dies at the end. Spoiler alert, right?
We're watching them.
So much fun. It's so bad. It's so good. You know what I mean? And all he does all the way through is fight, have sex, anything to keep his adrenaline up there. It's just crazy good and so bad. So
you just jab himself repeatedly with an EpiPen. Like
that's what. Yeah, he did. You've seen it.
No, I don't think I have.
Oh, you've got to watch that. You've got to watch that. So that's 20 years, okay? But I mean, obviously we haven't, but one of the psychological reasons that women sort of go for older men is the status. That's what it used to be. Now, I don't know whether that's...
I definitely haven't done that.
We could say that about like Melania and Trump, I guess, because she was this immigrant wife, that sort of thing, and he was rich millionaire. Or maybe like Hef and his play bunnies. That's a big thing. That was
he's not exactly an attractive man, and
exactly
they are. So they've obviously gone for the status, whereas he's gone for I don't care, she's hot.
Arm candy. Yeah, and maybe that's a difference, and I think that's something that but it's interesting that women are called cougars, right? Men go, oh, well done, you've got a younger girl. I mean, Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher, 16 years difference. I mean, they're divorced now, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
So I don't read all this. And I behind together, but because didn't she marry Bruce Willis for a while?
Yeah, she married Bruce Willis, had lots of children.
Yeah, because I'm sure, didn't they have lockdown together or something? I thought I'd read that somewhere. I could be a complete lie. So if anyone knows the answer to that, let us know. I'm sure. I
do know or suspect when I read somewhere, and maybe this is wrong, but that she had. Do you remember when she was in Charlie's Angels? She came out with all that. Number 2, I think it was, where she had the bikini and gorgeous. Apparently, she's paid.
No way. Was it a brown bikini?
She paid hundreds and hundreds of thousands to have work done on her whole body, including her knees. I don't know how that sticks in my head, but anyway. So why does that stick?
Looks like a spare ball bag. Like there's nothing attractive about a knee. Is it?
Knee fetishes. I mean that. Yeah. Spare ball bag. I love that. I've never heard that before. You crack me up. Oh God, you do. Anyway, 16 years between her and him, and they were married. Now he's with his first love from the 70s show. Why do I know this stuff?
Who's he with?
With somebody from the 70s show, that TV series. Anyway, Kutcher. She's looking at me like.
Anyway, so then we've got a Jonah brother. who's with someone. Again, I have no idea who these people are, Lee. I love the goss though.
Okay, here's the thing, right? You've got Priyanka Chopra and the Jonah brothers, okay? And you've got someone like
at the same time.
and you've got someone like George Clooney, who's married to this fabulous lawyer who is like into so much, done so much, right? And why is his status more important than her status? He's a film star, she's like a civil rights guy.
But those two together are like, I don't think I've ever seen a picture, because there's twins they've had a child. I don't think I've seen any pictures, but that child is destined to be ridiculously, obscenely beautiful, isn't it? Like, she's stunning, he's disgustingly handsome. It's gonna have a blessed life, like never want for anything, and so attractive. And yeah, I'm just gonna tap my tin of Aldi baked beans for me tea.
So what is it that makes women, and I'm including myself because I did it, right? So let's just put this in again, because I was married to someone who was older than me, who was 11 years older than me, that first marriage. My second marriage, I was married to somebody who's 7 years younger than me, and now I've got the lovely Mr. G, who is the same age as me. Okay, so we'll put him over there because he's not into this thing. And you had a similar age thing, haven't you?
Yes. So my that kind of previous longest term relationship, as it were, he was 15 years older than me. And it caused quite a stir because when it first happened, when we got together, I was 18.
Okay, so that's fairly young. So 18 and I can't do math.
33.
Okay.
So, but then I was probably an older, in terms of maturity level, an older 18 anyway. I'd finished my A-levels and whatever else. But when the thing that upsets me about it now, thinking about it, if one of my daughters did the same thing, when he was finishing his GCSEs, because he's got a June birthday, I was like 1. I think he did O-levels. So when you put it in that context, at what point does it become acceptable?
Yeah.
But yeah, so then following that was more, the next guy, because there were so many, was 11 years my senior. And then, now I've gone the opposite way, and Josh is kind of 4.5, 5 years younger than me. There's currently 4 years, so we'll go with 4. He's just on his birthday.
All right. So, old one, right? Your first relationship that we're talking about, and I'll say what I was feeling as well. And then while I was with and I'm not going to say too much because he's the father of my children, so and so I'm just going to talk about my stuff rather than right. Did anybody ever say to you, well, it's because you're looking for a father figure or something like that? Because I remember somebody saying to me that once. And me thinking, and my dad was really good father figure, and for me it really wasn't about that, but a lot of people thought it was.
No, I don't think. Well, to be fair, like my kind of growing up situation was very different. Obviously, my dad lived at the other end of the country. I lived with my mum and my stepdad, who I had a very difficult relationship with, still do. So it wasn't. I'm exceptionally close to my dad. We speak all the time. I look just like him, which is quite terrifying. But he is, honestly, he's amazing. And he's always been, he's not great with emotion. He's terrible with it, in fact. When I got divorced, I had to text him to tell him. And he's like, thank God you texted me and didn't ring. And he was literally like, thank you for that. Because he wouldn't have known what to do with himself. He just doesn't deal well. But he equally, I know, when the chips are down, if I need him, he's there. I could ring him in the middle of the night and he would drop everything and run. So it's, I don't think it's, but then I do wonder if I saw it as a way out because of the situation at home at the age of 18.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I can relate to that because I was living in Nottingham with I had a house shared with somebody, then I moved back with my mum and dad, which is never a good thing, is it? And then okay. And then I went on holiday with a friend and met my first husband on holiday, and hung out a couple of nights. You know how you do on holiday, and then got back, and we were married literally 3 months after we met. That's how quickly we were married. And he lived in London, and I moved to London that quickly and got married. So I was obviously trying to get away from something. It felt I was trying to get away from something. But what I'm interested in, right, is how is it that men get like pat on the back, or you're with a younger gal, right? Women, it's almost like if we're with older people, it's almost like there's something wrong with us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, one of the last times I saw my mother, Josh came to pick me up. It was like last year when there was a lot of stuff going on. Everything had just happened, and I'd had a few drinks. And also, I think I just had my surgery, so I couldn't drive. So he came to pick me up. And as he walked across the lawn, she turned and she went, "Elizabeth, that is a child." And bear in mind, at the time, he was 26.
Oh, goodness sake.
And I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
But from the other perspective, like, no one else has cared. Like, literally no one cares. And some of his friends have been like, "Oh, how did you get an older woman?" Like, do you know, he's got the kudos for it.
Yeah. But it's weird, isn't it? Because you get older men who go with younger women, and the older men go, "Yeah, well done." You get younger men go with older men, and the younger women get, "Oh, why are you going with him?" And then you get younger men with old women, and the younger men always get, "Oh, you've done well." And you go, where, whatever age we go with, seems like women, and I'm generalising, seems like us women get like, "What are you doing? You're going with a younger man. Are you mad? You're going with an older man. Are you mad? He's your father figure. We can't win, can we?"
Yeah, I don't notice any age difference between us whatsoever. I think, oh, unless I think about, like, sometimes I'll talk about something that I used to watch as a kid and it finished before Josh was old enough to watch it, and I'm a bit like, oh god. But you know, but yeah, we heard a song the other day, and he's like, "Oh my god, I remember this coming out," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I drove home for my driving test to this," and he's like, "Yeah, I was in like first year of secondary school." I was just like, oh. And it sounds like you notice it, but actually, I think the older you get as well, when it's a smaller gap like that, it's less pronounced. But if I was still with the guy that was 15 years older than me, if you think about it, and he's 50, I'll be 35. And I think then that's when it becomes a lot more noticeable, because he'll be becoming, generally speaking, I know not everyone's the same, but he'll be becoming that older man wanting to do older man stuff. And I'll be there like, actually, no, I want to. Well, having said that, I'm like a nana. I like a cup of tea and to be in bed at 9:30. So it's like, yeah, there's not many nights I don't fall asleep on the sofa.
But they retire. This is the thing. They retire in that, they're at a different stage in their lives, aren't they? It's. Do you feel any different being married to? I mean, I don't want to be rude or anything, but do you feel? I'm not talking but I'm not talking sex life. I'm talking just how you are. Like, do you feel more energetic or whatever being married to a younger guy than an older guy, or adventurous, in the world?
I think it's more, and I think this is more to do with the relationship I have rather than the age gap. Either way, is more that I've actually found someone that I just get on with, who gets me. And like, if I want to have a grumpy day and just sit there and I'm like, no, I don't want to go anywhere, I don't want to do anything, he's like, fine, do you want a cup of tea? Like, I'll bring you something, like, do you want a snack? And he'll just leave me to it, make sure I'm all right. And he's amazing. And then, but equally, if I'm like, come on, let's go and do this, even if he doesn't really want to, he's like, all right, then let's go. And he's just great. He's just such a nice guy. Like, he cleans the house. Like, he got furloughed, and like, my kitchen was immaculate. It was amazing. I was just like, I'm sat here working, and he's cleaned the whole house. He lighted all the garden. He dug out the pond and filled it in, and like, he just does so much stuff, and I don't have to ask him. I think that says a lot.
So, on what you just said, okay, are we assuming, generalizing again, are we assuming that basically it doesn't matter what fucking age you are, right? It's about love and who connects and how you connect with people.
I think so. Yeah. I think, obviously the people that we've been in relationships with, you obviously love them at the time because, that's how that relationship happens. But something's not right. And sometimes, yes, you'll try and fix it and you'll muddle through and you'll let things slide just for an easy life. but actually in this relationship I've never had to do that, which is really nice. Like, if ever something's really annoyed me, I've just gone, you do my head in because of this, and he's gone, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And likewise, if I've done something, he's like, oh, I don't like that you've done that. So I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry, like, I didn't mean to upset you, won't do it again. And it's sorted. Whereas previously I've had like brooding and brewing and bearing of grudges, and so I think to me it's all about the connection rather than as long as it's legal, obviously. I'm not implying that.
We always end up, when we're talking about whatever we're talking about, we always have to make this like, this.
I know, because I don't want someone coming after me saying that I'm saying that certain things are acceptable, which most definitely are not. But I think I think ultimately love is love, isn't it? It's no different having a relationship with a big age gap than it is having a gay or bisexual or whatever relationship. It makes no difference if you're happy and you connect with that person. Not hurting.
I just think you can't help who you fall in love with, and sometimes it's older, and I'm sure some people have like psychological, well, I know some people have psychological issues why they go with older people and younger people and all that sort of thing. Sometimes it's to keep themselves young, and sometimes it's because they want to get away and or whatever, right? But I'm like you. For me, I just think you can't help who you fall in love with, and we either can fight against it or we can go, yeah, do you know what, this is quite nice for now, because I have this weird theory. I have this weird 10-year theory that everybody sort of like, and this isn't not based on anything but me being up at 2 o'clock in the morning thinking about stuff, right? Which is when you get all the texts going, oh, guess what, Lizzie?
The alarm goes off at 6 and I'm like, she's had a bad night again.
So I was thinking that we have 10-year or whatever, we all have mine's 10 years, yours might be something else, somebody had me about 12 years, but we all have like a beginning and end thing where either relationship or work or whatever, and we get to a certain a period of time and we go, that's my limit on something, and if I want to go longer, I need to put more effort in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah,
I think we all get to like that breaking point, as it were, don't you, where something changes fundamentally or it just needs to stop.
Yeah, which is why I'm really surprised, because I've just come up to my 10th anniversary this year, I think it is, right?
You think?
You know what? And he's fine with this, because Mr. G knows that my memory is absolute shite. I have no memory. I don't do anniversaries and all that. So I can't remember anything. So he's my memory for that sort of thing. So I'm sure it's September this year is 10 years. And I've never done over 10 years in a relationship, ever.
Right.
Even a man. So for me, it's like I've got this like panic. I've got this inner panic. And this is what I talk to me about sometimes. I do.
You're fine. You're fine.
Because I think, oh shit, what happens if I fuck up? And he goes, oh, you're fine. So mine is 10 years. What do you have one? I mean, do you have an inner like timeline with stuff?
I mean, I put up with a lot of shit for 6 years. But I shouldn't have, and that was the older age gap. And I think, again, a lot of that was I didn't feel like I had anyone to turn to, and I let a lot of things slide. And then there was a few quite monumental things that happened, at which point I was like, no more. But then, in other relationships, it's weird. It's always been me that's walked away. So I think I do get to a point where I'm like, nah, I've had enough now. Like, I do know my worth at some point. Might take me a while to get the balls to do it, but yeah. So I think, but I'm like you, like with Josh, I know it's right, and so sometimes he'll be in a funny mood, and I'm like, you still love me? It's like really pathetic.
Because do you know what? Not is it? Me and you, I would say we're fairly confident in ourselves. I mean, body image, all that shit, right? Everything. We're fairly confident in who we are, okay? But there's still that voice inside my head that goes, am I really lovable? Does he really, and I'm like you, I go to him, you're very quiet today. Is it me? And he'll go, no, I'm just having a, but in my head, it has to be me. It has to be mine. And I think, what is that shit about? Because it's weird.
It is weird. But then, I will literally, I'll like ring Josh up at work sometimes, and not all the time. I'm not some like weird stalker, and I'm like, just want to check if you're all right, because like last night you were dead quiet and really funny, and then like this morning you barely even spoke to me, and like, are you all right? Like, is anything wrong? And he's like, I was just really knackered, I'm so sorry, and then I got up late, and I'm like, oh, well, actually, yeah, that is true. You did get up 5 minutes before you had to leave the house, and I'm like, oh yeah, oh shut up, Lizzie. And it's like, but yeah.
Is look at ourselves. What have we done? I don't know, for me, whether it's because I'm like you, I've always walked away from a relationship. I've put up with shit, and then I thought, oh, that's enough.
Yeah.
I'm worth more than this, blah blah, right? And so because I'm with Mr. G and I adore him, there's that part of me that goes, at some point something's going to happen. I'm going to do something that's going to fuck this up. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't know what it is. I can't quite, and I don't know.
Because you appreciate what you've got, though.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think that's the thing. If you do really genuinely care, you don't get complacent.
Yeah.
And it keeps you on your toes, because you will always, not that you wouldn't anyway, but I think it gives you that enough passion to be like, right, actually, I just need to make sure that I do these things right and I look after this person right, and rather than potentially you could just be like, whatever. Everyone goes through the bit, and I know we're going to talk about that in our next episode, about the difference between you and longer term relationships with like lack of shaving or waxing or whatever it is.
I look forward to the next one as well, because I'm so excited about what we're doing next.
Yeah, I mean, I my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, did tell me earlier on that I do have legs like the dog. And yeah, I was like, cheers, babe.
They're so honest. Children are so honest.
For reference, he is a black and white Jack Russell. So, but yeah, and I mean, what else can I say? Or it's like, oh, mummy, you've got very hairy armpits. Yes, I know, but we're in lockdown. Mummy, why don't you wear a bra anymore? We're in lockdown. So like, I'm barely leaving the house because it's not safe to do so. I'm not going to put myself through the torture of wearing a load of, wire and various other contraptions. I can just let it all hang out and no one knows, apart from my kids. But
your kids are awesome. Okay, so do you know anybody else who has got an age difference in their relationship of significance?
Yes. So my best friend, Ellen, she's literally ran across the world to go and be with her boyfriend. They now have a baby. She's beautiful. But yeah, there was 11 years between them. And I didn't actually realise it was that much. Because he's old. He's old. I'm sure she won't mind sharing. And they actually met. She was living in either Dubai or Abu Dhabi at the time, because she's lived in both. She'd gone travelling around Australia in the school summer holiday. She was a teacher with her friend. They rented a camper van, and they were on this I think it was like basically a drinking cruise thing, as you do when you're on like cool holidays like that. I met this guy who was over in Australia for a friend's wedding, who was from Dublin. So English girl meets Irish man on a boat, speaks for like 2 hours, goes away, she doesn't think about it again, as much as she was like, oh, he was really hot and I really enjoyed talking to him. And he tracked her down on Facebook.
Oh, you're kidding me.
And like, he actually genuinely, speaking to a friend of his, he's going to kill me if he ever watches this, speaking to a friend of his, she said, he actually reactivated his Facebook from several years before to look for her, because they'd obviously talked about like where she worked and stuff, so he tracked her down that way, and messaged her, and then literally she came home for Christmas and she was like, oh, I'm going to Iceland with Boatman, as we called him, because she met him on a boat. I still call him Boatman now. And I was like, you literally met this guy once for 2 hours. You cannot go to Iceland by yourself with this man you don't know. And she was like, well, I can. So we were all terrified she was going to get like raped and murdered or something. Obviously it turned out fine. And the relationship just grew. And then she now lives with him in Dublin. They've got a beautiful 6-month-old baby. And he's gone from that kind of really solitary, selfish, but not in a nasty way, bachelor life. He could do what he wanted because he didn't have to answer to anyone. He could go out drinking or, stay in bed late, playing his PlayStation, whatever. and he's turned all that around. I said, that sounds awful, because there was nothing wrong with it.
Because when you're single, it's a completely, you don't have to think about anybody.
But literally, he's gone from that to being, he's an amazing dad. You see him with Ava, and it's literally like, I'm like, oh, and he's brilliant. And he looks after Ellen so well. And
in 11 years, okay. And did she have any concept? I guess when she first met, what are her views about the whole age difference? What's in her head about it? Does she think the same way we do? That
I think she's not that concerned. From memory, like when we were growing up, she did have a couple of relationships with slightly older people, but not. I don't think the age difference was that big. Maybe like 5-6 years. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I didn't even twig that there was. I assumed he was a similar age to us because he looks it. He's done well. Guinness must be really good for you. Do you know what I mean? But they're so happy together, and they work so well together. And I have honestly never seen her so happy. And it's just, as her best friend, like I refer to her as my sister from another mister. For me to see that is just lovely. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? I'm living vicariously through their baby because I don't want any more, but I like to cover theirs. Fuzzy lockdown.
So here's the thing, right? Emotional intelligence, okay. EI. I can't believe I remember that. EI. So emotional intelligence. I have a theory also, one of those 2 o'clock theories, that no matter what the age is, right, emotional intelligence plays a part in sort of couples, okay? So again, if you've got an elder, younger, whatever, if the emotional intelligence is equalish, then that's where the connection will be. Because if you've got somebody who's really empathic and somebody who's shit, or somebody who's really selfish, somebody isn't, you know, or somebody who can relate to the world and somebody who can't, then that's not going to. But I think if you've got somebody who's, and I'm not talking about Hoff and his Playgirls, because obviously that was for a reason.
It's a very different kind of concept, isn't it, that?
Yeah, about proper relationships. Emotional intelligence, which leads me to the thing about, you know, does it, back to that whole thing, does it matter? No, it doesn't. That seems to be what we get to. And do you feel like your now partner, Josh, who I want to clean my house, by the way, just constantly.
I'll rent him out. He's a plumber too, if you need him to fix it. It's brilliant.
Has the same emotional intelligence level as you do, which is why you connect. And because I feel like my second husband, his emotional intelligence, oh God, you know, no way, we weren't compatible at all. I mean,
I got married to somebody who was 6 years older than me, and it was horrific. Like, nice guy, don't get me wrong, and he's the daughter of he's the father of one of my daughters, but you know, he's a very good dad. But we didn't get on, and I think a lot of that was I'd lived on my own, or I'd lived out of home for several years already. He still lived at home when we met.
How old was he when he lived at home?
30. And he wouldn't.
Why do I think that's odd? Why do I think that? I mean, it's probably not odd now, actually, is it? Because there's a lot of people move back home because they can't afford house. But
he never left home. He went to a bit and then went back home. But he never lived on his own. He never had. He didn't go to uni or anything. He went straight into work after school. You know, he's done very well for himself.
Did he treat you like a bit of a mom in a sense? Were you a bit like his mom in the fact that you organised everything?
He'd come in from work and be like, "Oh, I don't want that for tea. Make me something different." And me being me, I was like, "Yeah, of course I will." I had to do all the washing and ironing and cleaning, and it was hard. It was really hard, and he would throw tantrums, and it was literally like having an extra child. I mean, he's changed a lot since we separated. Yeah. You know, obviously, he was on his own for a bit, and he's now with someone who is fantastic. Actually, she's clearly sorted him right out, and is, you know, our daughter gets on really well with her as well. So it's nice for me because I know she goes there and has a lovely time, and she's safe and she's happy and whatever else. But yeah, that was horrendous. Whereas Josh and I think he's actually very mature for the age that he is. Like, on paper, I don't want that to sound patronising, but you know, he's a dad, and
and that's what now. It's not about being patronising. It's about being completely honest. It's the feeling of it is mature, because I think women, because psychologically women mature faster than men anyway, right? that's just what we do.
A lot.
Oh, not. But that's what statistics show us, that women mature emotionally faster than men. Okay, so there's always going to be a bit of a lag. So when you find a younger man, I don't think it's patronising to say they're mature, because actually we want them to be mature. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, I think if you look at him compared to some of his friends, for example, who are the same age but don't have kids, they don't need to be responsible, and some of them, like, fair play to them, have bought houses and doing whatever, and they're doing really well for themselves, but they can go out, well, prior to lockdown, can go out every Friday night and get absolutely smashed, and it doesn't matter. Whereas he has had that, actually, I've got bills to pay, I've got kids to feed. Yes, he'll go out and have his mad night every now and then. Him and his best friend are an absolute pair of terrors together. It's the cutest thing. They're so sweet together. I love them. But it's very different.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And this is your forever man now.
Better be. Jesus, I've got way too fat to be looking for anyone else.
Let's just finish this by saying next year you're getting married.
8 months today.
So I just think, what do you think the conclusion is? Do you think that age matters?
No.
No, I don't think so.
I think as we appear to have established, it's connection.
It is it is who he is, and I think that's it. I think that's right. And that's, although with a younger guy there is that little bit of extra energy.
And moving on. So,
yes.
Thanks for joining us. And join us next week, where we will be talking about.
Please subscribe. Please, we need 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
and we've only
pay the bills.
Please subscribe.
But no, new versus old relationships and the differences in behaviours and attitudes, and probably some other sassy stuff, to be fair, because wine's involved. Or just go, she drinks gin and Diet Coke, whatever. Anyway, thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.
'Sweet and Peachy.